Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Safety Systems. Before football season rolls around, now is the time to contact Safety Systems about creating a home theater room in your home. You tell them what you want, they do the rest. From a nice, simple setup to a full-on wow your friends entertainment room where everybody now is going to be wanting to watch the games at your house. Call VFL JJ Surlis about it this week. They can also do great security systems, home automation. They do it all. SafeTSystems.com. All right, let's put the schedule back up and let's talk about wins, all right? We looked at most damaging losses. What would be the most helpful win for Heupel, for the program? And we're taking Alabama out because that's the least likely, and also that's what we would all say if it were available. So take that out. What is which win, if you could win any of those, which win would be the most helpful to the program and to Heupel? Ryan.
I'll go with Florida. I think Florida is always the tone setter for Tennessee on the schedule, has been for years, and I think that one might send more of a message to a lot of people, whereas to me, an upset of Georgia, the only thing about Georgia is it's later in the season, so maybe people could sell that as like, hey, legitimate improvement throughout the year. But to me, people would be more likely to write off Georgia as a one-game fluke. To me, a win over Florida could be sold as this team legitimately has a chance to be better than people expect, and at least early on, that would be a major boost to Tennessee in recruiting and everything. So I think that one, I'd go with Florida. Tennessee fans are so tired of losing to Florida.
Okay. All right. I think we've seen the schedule and come back to us because everybody knows it at this point. Bob, which win could do the most help?
I'm going to go with Florida too, because then maybe Josh Heupel gets in that Dan Mullen conversation of being a guru and a quarterback whisperer and all that stuff takes him down. Georgia wasn't in my top two. My other one would be Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. That Lane Kiffin comes in here, and if you can beat him, okay, man, we may not be happy with the Heupel hire, but we beat Lane Kiffin, another coach that a lot of people would have liked to have seen. So I'm going to go with Florida, and then I'd put in Ole Miss ahead of Georgia, because I also agree that Georgia is seemingly so talented that you could write that off more as a fluke.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Georgia's the better team than Florida and Ole Miss, but I still would go with Florida as well. It's early enough in the year to where I think that can have a confidence carryover for you down the road. It's also early enough in the year to maybe it can have some impact in recruiting. Potentially you show, hey, look, you're getting a road win. Maybe we've arrived. And the fact that they do win on the road, I think, would resonate to a lot of people outside of the program and maybe to the fan base as well. So the rivalry, all those things that the guys have mentioned, but I think Florida maybe would go a longer way than anybody else.
Well, go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to say, I like the Ole Miss thought. I almost said that myself. I've talked with some prospects who are kind of optimistic about Tennessee's future, and the ones who are, they think Tennessee could be another Ole Miss. So to me, you come out in year one, beat Ole Miss, beat Lane Kiffin in that offense.
What does that tell you about the state of the Tennessee program?
Well, they see Ole Miss as kind of exciting with that offense.
Well,
all the points they put up against Alabama last year, that caught kids' attention. You do that this year, Tennessee can have something to sell.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Go back to 1998, and what do you think the reaction would be if you said, some kids think Tennessee could be an Ole Miss? I mean, that's where you are now, is they think it could be an exciting offense like Ole Miss as opposed to a good program.
And that's not carrying over in recruiting, right? They're last in the SEC in the 2022 class.
But Kiffin's just an ace recruiter, genius. Another part, the Florida thing I like because, one, I think your point that you're closer to Florida, so it may be more of we're seeing a flip here, whereas if you beat Georgia, it may be taken as just, that was one upset. Whereas Florida could be, all right, they're going to be neck and neck. The other thing about Florida is Dan Mullen, you just had the scandal down there. He's facing a show cause. The off-field credit card thing went on. He could be in trouble. He's not hit it off with people down there because he is kind of a jerk. He was at Mississippi State. It's just his nature. He's kind of a smart aleck. If you beat him, you might not only be helping yourself, you might be hurting him. Whereas you beat Kirby Smart, nobody's going to be talking about firing Kirby Smart anytime soon, I don't think. My answer was going to be Georgia because higher rated, because you've traditionally done a lot more recruiting in Georgia than you have Florida. But I've listened to you guys. You've talked me into going with Florida. And I think the fact that you could do double the damage on Dan Mullen could also be a hidden benefit to beating Florida. So I'll go Florida could be the most helpful for this program.
Yeah.
Georgia being at home makes it interesting too, though. Fans like special moments. That would give you an early special moment at home that would resonate with a lot of people.
That's true
Yeah.
because Georgia. That may be there's your signature win
Yeah.
because people always talk about where's your signature win. Well, get that out of the way. If you beat a top 10 team, that talk's over.
Well, if they're struggling, what's the attendance at that point also? So maybe it doesn't give it
There'll be
Oh,
nobody there to
I
watch
think
it.
a lot of Georgia people would come.
All right. Well, when we come back, we've saved a lot of time for this last segment because we got a little baseball to talk about, a little softball to talk about, and some celebratory eating to do. Bob has brought in cicadas. Fried cicadas. We'll see if he can convince anyone here on the panel, and Chuck will bring him back out here, convince anyone here to try those. Vince has brought beignets, homemade beignets.
Yep.
So, beignets or bugs? That's coming up next on the Sports Source. We'll see. Come on back.